Welcome to the channel. Join us as we delve into the darkest corners of the human experience, sharing spine-tingling true stories that will leave you breathless. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of terror. Get ready to be chilled to the bone as we embark on this spine-tingling journey together. It was a Friday evening in late October when I decided to take a road trip to visit my friend in a remote town. I had just finished my last class of the week, and as a college student, I was eager for a break from the stress of assignments and exams. I had always enjoyed the freedom of the open road, so when my friend invited me, I jumped at the chance. I set out in the late afternoon, expecting the long drive to be a peaceful and uneventful journey. Little did I know it would turn into a nightmare I'd never forget. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I found myself driving through desolate rural roads, surrounded by nothing but darkness and the occasional flickering streetlight. The isolation I felt was unnerving, and I couldn't help but glance nervously at the rearview mirror, half expecting to see something sinister lurking in the shadows. It must have been around midnight when I noticed a broken-down car on the side of the road. A woman stood next to it, her face barely visible in the dim light. She looked distressed, waving her arms to catch my attention. Although every instinct told me to keep driving, I just couldn't leave her stranded there. I pulled over and rolled down my window, trying to appear as non-threatening as possible. "Hey, do you need some help?" I asked, my voice wavering slightly. The woman hesitated for a moment before nodding, her eyes darting back and forth nervously. There was something off about the whole situation, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Despite my unease, I stepped out of my car, not knowing that my life was about to take a terrifying turn. As we stood by the side of the road, the woman seemed to become more nervous and hesitant with each passing moment. I offered to call a tow truck for her, and she reluctantly agreed. While we waited, we tried to make small talk to pass the time, but the conversation felt forced and unnatural. The woman shared vague details about her life, mentioning that she was on her way to visit family, but something about the way she told her story made me doubt its authenticity. Her voice wavered, and she seemed to be holding back important information. As the minutes ticked by, her agitation grew more noticeable, and I couldn't help but feel increasingly uneasy. At one point, I tried to reassure her by saying, "Don't worry, the tow truck should be here soon." But instead of calming her down, my words seemed to have the opposite effect. She began to pace back and forth, her hands wringing together as if trying to release some unseen tension. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong, and the woman's behavior only heightened my suspicion. The air around us seemed to grow heavier, and the silence was punctuated by the distant howling of a lonely coyote. The situation was growing stranger by the second, and I couldn't wait for the tow truck to arrive, so I put some distance between us. Just like the silence between us became unbearable, the woman's phone rang, cutting through the tension like a knife. She looked at the screen, her eyes widening in fear, before she quickly stepped away to answer the call. I couldn't help but eavesdrop, straining to hear her hushed panic conversation. The words I managed to catch sent a shiver down my spine. "No, I didn't tell him anything. Yes, I know the consequences. Please, just give me more time." When she returned, her anxiety seemed to have multiplied tenfold. She avoided making eye contact, and her hands trembled as she clutched her phone tightly. I knew then that something was seriously wrong, and I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach any longer. I told her that I needed to leave, as I still had a long drive ahead of me. She hesitated for a moment before insisting that she accompany me. "Please," she begged, her voice trembling. "I can't stay here. It's not safe for me." I wanted to refuse, to just get in my car and drive away from this unsettling situation, but something in her eyes convinced me to relent. When we got in my car, I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, the sense of dread growing stronger with each passing second. The night had taken a chilling turn, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was driving straight into the heart of the danger. The woman's secret seemed to loom over us like a dark cloud, and I knew that whatever was happening, it was far from over. As we continued down the dark, desolate road, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I glanced in the rearview mirror and noticed a car tailing us closely, its headlights off. The sight of this mysterious vehicle sent a chill down my spine, and my grip tightened on the steering wheel. The woman seemed to sense my unease and became even more agitated. I could see her nervously glancing back at the car, her breathing shallow and quick. With a trembling voice, she finally spoke up. "I'm involved in something dangerous. I'm so sorry for dragging you into this." I pressed her for more information, but she refused to provide any details. My mind raced with possibilities, each one more terrifying than the last. I was now involved in a perilous situation, unsure of what would happen next, and if I could trust the woman I had tried to help. As we sped through the night, the car behind us kept pace, never falling too far behind. The tension in the air was suffocating, and I knew that whatever awaited us, it wouldn't be good. I glanced over at the woman, her eyes wide with fear, and I wondered if I had made a grave mistake by letting her into my car. The road stretched out before us, shrouded in darkness as we drove further into the unknown. The car behind us remained a constant, menacing presence, and I knew that our terrifying ordeal was far from over. With every mile, the sense of dread grew, leaving me to wonder if I would ever escape this nightmare, or if my decision to help a stranger would be my last. To be continued in part 2. Thank you for venturing into the darkness with us. If you've survived the terror and want more, make sure to like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, sleep tight. And remember, some nightmares are too real.